What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. So Dungeon Defenders Awaken launches on the PlayStation on May 24th at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Now, if you were an early Kickstarter backer, you can play the game right now. So check your email, get your PlayStation redeem code, install the game, and start playing. Now, one question I got asked many times throughout my first day of stream here, and just a general advice for new players just beginning the game, and that is setting a few things up before you get started. Now, I'm recording this on the PC, pardon me. However, the interface will be relatively the same, so you can go through and follow this and easily get your PlayStation squared away. Now, first things first. The very first thing you're going to want to do is go over to gameplay in the options and go to your auto loot filter. Once you get in your auto loot filter, basically this is you setting up what is going to be automatically looted in your inventory and then what is going to be automatically sold at the end of each wave. So it's very important to get this set up right out of the gates, and this is the way I personally go about setting it up when I'm playing through a new account. First thing, I'm going to go down to quality. Under quality, I am going to select every single rarity. I'm going to go to elements and make sure nothing is selected. I'm going to go to weapons, select everything. Go to armor, select everything. And then go to accessories and select everything. Now, how this is, every single piece of everything that drops on the ground will be picked up and go into your inventory. So when you're brand new and just starting off at level 1, this is without a doubt what you want, as you don't want to miss out on anything. You want all the gear. Now, after you get your characters set up in a decent set of, say, gray gear, then you would uncheck common. Then, say, when everyone is in a decent set of green gear, you would want to uncheck uncommon. Rare gear, uncheck that. Epic gear, uncheck that, etc. Now, say we were at this point, what this means is every single item on the ground, with the exception of pets or accessories, that's common, uncommon, rare, or epic is going to be automatically sold off, and we won't have to deal with it. Now, everything that is a higher rarity is then going to be collected and put directly into your inventory. Very important to set this up. You're going to want to get it going right away, as it is just a huge quality of life aspect of the game, and it allows you to eliminate some of that inventory management hassle, as, you know, your inventory is just not going to be flooded with gray, green, and blue gear, etc. So get your loot filter set up. Now, before you exit out, once you leave your loot filter after setting it up, make sure to hit the apply button. I think it was square on the PlayStation controller, but it will show apply on your interface. Now, moving right along, you do have a 6-hero deck in Dungeon Defenders Awakened. Before you start your first map, you're going to want to fill all of these slots. Now, Dungeon Defenders Awaken, of course, is not a free-to-play game. There's no microtransactions, so you have access to every character in the game right away. You just have to create them and level them up. Now, how experience works in DDA is, say, for example, a map rewards 10,000 experience. If you've got one hero in your deck, that hero is going to get 10,000 experience. However, if you have 6 heroes in your deck, each hero is going to get that 10k experience. So experience is additive, and as long as you keep a full deck, you will be getting the maximum amount of experience available. Now, this jumps into what is a suggested starting deck, and a suggested starting deck for you is the 6 heroes that you think look the coolest. Don't go by what I'm saying, because I build this deck for me, and for efficiency, you build your deck for fun, as it is a game and you're supposed to be enjoying it. So you choose the 6 heroes that you think would be the most fun, and the most important thing there is just make sure you have 6 selected. So this is the starting deck that I personally would go with. Now, like I said, this is my personal starting deck that I would go with. I would go with a rogue, an apprentice, a huntress, a monk, an EV, and the warden. Now, this means that, of course, the Squire is being left behind, and the Squire is an extremely powerful DPS hero late game. However, in the current state of the game, the Squire's defenses and really the build just needs a little bit of love. Although it is really the best burst DPS hero in the entire game, at end game, you have to get to that point with your gear and with your weapon sets. If you don't have the right sets and the right gear, the Squire, I personally feel, is a little underwhelming. The Rogue, however, feels really, really good right out of the box at level 1. So I choose to go with the Rogue, Apprentice, Huntress, Monk, EV, and the Warden. Now, for those that have been watching the stream, you know I like to start off with the Proton Beam. Oh yes, the lovely Protons. Now, when you are level 1 and you have no gear, the Proton Beam is without question the strongest thing in the game. So if you want to get through the early game super quick, spam Proton Beams. They are just gonna wreck it. For Proton Beams to make them better, all you would really want to worry about is power. It's the only thing that matters super early game. So get your power on with your Proton Beams, spam them up, and win a whole bunch of matches, because these things are just crazy OP early game. Now, as soon as you advance a little bit, of course, then the options really open up for you. Once you get to level 20, you're going to get access to the Buff Beam. This, of course, is going to really make just about any defense you want to use much, much more viable. So then you can switch it up. I personally will end up going and making the switch at about level 20-ish over to some Proton Beams and some Wisps from the Warden. The Wisp is super, super powerful as well. However, one of the things the Wisps desperately need is a little bit of range. So on your Wisps, when you first start earning some points, pop them into range and reap the rewards. Additionally, on the Wisp, it does get a huge amount of upgrade value in the range area. So you can greatly increase the range of your Wisp by upgrading them during the waves. So make sure you get your Wisps upgraded and you throw some of those early stats into the range for the Wisps. Now, this will move us right along to your inventory. Now, the inventory, all of these bags are not actually bags. What they are filter presets. The first one is going to be everything. The rest of them you can set for whatever you want. What I personally do is normally set one bag for nothing but weapons, one for nothing but accessories, one for nothing but pets, and then I split the armor up. So it would be, you know, guard or ancient armor, guard armor, militia, minor, etc. And I would have a preset for each type of armor, one for weapons, one for accessories, and one for pets. What this will allow me to do is, as I jump into the game, and as I'm playing through it, if I'm on, say, my Warden, and my Warden is in, say, minor gear, I can just click right over to that minor tab, and that will allow me to just look at the minor gear that I would want on that particular hero. It takes a few minutes to go through and set this up. However, you will quickly reap the rewards as your inventory is just going to get completely spammed full of gear. So you're going to very quickly get the benefit for taking just those few extra minutes to getting things set up. Now, when it comes to actually playing the maps, you know, going through on medium mode is not for everyone. A brand new player, this is the intended starting experience, so go through medium mode. However, there are a whole lot of Dungeon Defenders veterans out there that are going to be playing on the PlayStation, and you can jump this all the way up to starting on Insane mode. Now, it's locked. What can I do there? Well, to unlock, complete the Deeper Well on hard. If we look here, to unlock, complete the Deeper Well on medium. So you would have to do the Deeper Well 3 times. Once on medium, then switch it to hard, and hard mode will be unlocked. Then switch it to insane, and insane mode will be unlocked. Once you complete this Deeper Well map on insane, you can then play through the game as normal, just starting off basically right on insane mode, because you've knocked out the prerequisites. Now, of course, the completionists out there will want to get check marks on all the boxes, and you can by all means do that. This is just something that allows you to skip forward if you choose to get to endgame a little bit quicker and have a slightly higher difficulty. The difference between medium and hard is quite trivial, and the difference between hard and insane is just slightly more. So any veteran of Dungeon Defenders is going to be able to play through insane mode without an issue. The hardcore toggle is a straight up loot multiplier. What this means, of course, is if you die during the wave, you're not going to respawn, so your build is going to have to carry you through the rest of the wave. You don't get any other benefit other than hardcore being on other than the loot modifier. Now, when you get to endgame, you will never play the game without hardcore on, because you're going to want that loot. However, when you're first starting off, you're going to find yourself getting items you can't use because they have a high level requirement all the time. So I personally suggest playing through and getting your experience started with hardcore turned off. You just don't need that higher quality loot because it's just going to spam your inventory, as you're not going to be able to equip a ton of stuff already. Rifted mode is a farm mode. Now, it is available from the very beginning. However, Rifted mode is all about going through and picking up specific fusion sets of armor. So, for lack of better terms, Rifted mode is grind mode. You're going to be grinding maps over and over again to try to get your specific armor sets dialed in with the stats you want. Now, there is a non-stop amount of grind in Dungeon Defenders games, every one of them. We all know this already. So I personally suggest leaving that toggled off because there will be plenty of room for grind later on, and that is when you can start taking advantage of Rifted mode. The XP is not fantastic. It's less enemies that are higher health and a higher difficulty. So some of the maps will run slightly faster. However, you're not getting a excessive amount of XP. The entire reason for Rifted mode is just to pick up those specific fusion pieces and sets of armor. So don't bother with Rifted mode unless you just want to. It's there for you if you want to, and you can. I personally won't do Rifted mode until I'm at a point where the game is telling me it's time to grind. Now, with that in mind, once you complete the insane campaign and say you've done Ancient Mines Survival, Ancient Mines is always a wonderful survival stopping point, as it is the easiest survival map in the game. Now, after you have done this, you are going to want to get to Nightmare, of course. Now, Nightmare is going to require being level 70 and completing the summit on Insane. So no matter what, you have to do the summit map on Insane. So you're going to have to play through on Insane campaign to the summit. However, when you get to this point, you are not going to be anywhere near level 70 yet. So you're going to have to go back and do one or two survival maps. At this point, whatever you want, it doesn't take much, and it's going to push you over the hump to level 70 to get you into Nightmare. Now, same thing in there. In Nightmare mode, or any difficulty mode for that matter, my first stop is always going to be get Ancient Mines unlocked, and then do an Ancient Mines survival run to get some gear, which will then make the rest of that tier trivial. Now, when you get through and you do Nightmare mode, you're going to want to jump to Massacre, but here you go. You got to do the summit on Nightmare, but you also have to be level 83. Now, by the time you complete the summit on Nightmare and say you've done an Ancient Mines Survival, you're probably going to be about level 73. So you're going to have a lot of grind involved. Now, there's multiple different routes you can take for grinding XP. The general rule is do the highest difficulty survival run. Wave 20 starts that you can do quickly. Now, you might say, why wave 20 instead of wave 23? Well, starting at wave 23 is when you're farming for loot. If you're farming for XP, you're going to get more XP per hour starting at wave number 20. Myself and several other players have tested this many, many times, and we always all come to the same result. Wave 20 starts is the way to go. Now, one of the easiest higher tier maps to do is the Prom. Doing the Prom on Wave 20 starts is going to be a lot of veterans' choice of where to grind out to level 83. The Mill also offers really nice experience as well and is a great choice there. Now, here is the kicker, though. the game is forcing you into grind mode, because it's not going to be 1 or 2 maps that gets you through. You're not going to be able to do just a few proms. You're going to have to do like 7 or 8 of them. Now, the game is making you grind, so what better time to get started in Rifted mode than right now? You can go back and start collecting your Rifted pieces as you're leveling up to get to level 83, and that will allow you to jump right into Massacre mode on Rifted, and from there, there's no turning back. It's all you and wrecking all the faces. So this grind point from level 70 to 83, after you've completed the Nightmare campaign, is a great time to start on Rifted mode and start farming up those Rifted pieces. Now, lots of players will go all the way through to Massacre mode and at least get a Massacre set of survival gear from Ancient Mind before they do that. There's no wrong answer with Rifted mode, y'all. It is completely up to you and your experience. Just remember that Rifted mode is not going to be a matter of do this map, get this item. It's going to be do this map 10 times to get that item that has the stats and rolls that you want on it. So this is definitely a farm mode, and I personally suggest saving it for later in the game. So hopefully that helps everyone get a little bit of a head start in their PlayStation experience. Once again, if you backed PlayStation on Kickstarter, check your email. It says in the email that the code's not going to work till the 24th. I can tell you personally, oh yeah, it works. So get your code in and start playing a little Dungeon Defenders Awaken. If you have any questions or any tips for new players, don't forget to let them know down in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks again, y'all. Take it easy.